Most people think getting physically in shape is a physical problem. They think it starts with the right workout plan, the right diet, the right routine, or some secret method they just haven't discovered yet. And honestly, that makes sense because that's how fitness is usually presented. It's always framed as missing information. Like if you just knew the right exercises or ate the right foods or followed the right influencer, everything would click into place. There's always something new being advertised as the thing that finally works. And when you're young, it's really easy to believe that. It feels logical. If you're not where you want to be physically, it must be because you're missing something. But if that were true, almost everyone would already be in shape because the information isn't hidden. It's everywhere. We all know the basics, even if we don't like admitting it. Move your body more than you currently do. Eat decently most of the time. Sleep enough when you can. Do that consistently over a long period of time. That's it. Well, that's not mysterious. The hard part isn't knowing what to do. The hard part is sticking with it when it stops being new, when it stops being exciting, when it becomes normal. Especially around our age, getting in shape is usually treated like a temporary phase, something you lock in on. You tell yourself that starting Monday or starting next month or starting after some random life milestone, you're going to go all in. You're going to be disciplined. You're going to be serious. You're going to finally become the version of yourself you've been thinking about. You imagine how different things will feel, how confident you'll be, how much better your life will be once you get there. And for a little while, it works. You feel motivated. You feel proud. You feel like you're finally doing something right. You might even enjoy it at first. But then something small happens. You miss a workout. You eat something you didn't plan. You stay up too late. You get sick. You get busy. And suddenly that perfect version of you disappears. Not because you failed, but because that version was never real in the first place. And when that happens, a lot of people don't just move on. They get disappointed in themselves. They internalize it. One missed workout turns into, I always fall off. One bad day of eating turns into, I have no self-control. One lazy week turns into, this just isn't who I am. And that spiral is way more damaging than whatever mistake you made. The mistake didn't ruin anything. The story you told yourself about the mistake did. The problem isn't that you messed up. The problem is that you believed messing up meant you weren't capable of change. A lot of people think discipline is something you either have or you don't. Like, some people are just wired differently. Like, disciplined people wake up feeling motivated, energized, and ready to do hard things, and everyone else just struggles forever. But discipline isn't a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's a byproduct of repeated behavior. You don't wake up one day as a disciplined person and then start taking care of yourself. You start taking small actions, often while feeling unmotivated and unsure, and over time your brain starts to see you as someone who follows through. That identity shift doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, it's subtle, you don't notice it day to day, but every small action you take is basically casting a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. And those votes count even when they feel insignificant. Going for a short walk counts. Doing a workout that feels kind of weak counts. Choosing to stop eating when you're full counts. None of these things feel impressive, but they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be repeatable. This is why starting small matters so much more than people think. When you start too big, you're not being ambitious. You're being fragile. You're building a system that only works under perfect conditions. When you're motivated. When you're rested. When nothing else goes wrong. And real life does not operate under perfect conditions. If your routine falls apart the second you're tired or stressed, it's not a routine, it's a fantasy. A real routine is something you can do on your worst days. Something you can do when you don't feel like it. Something that doesn't require a pep talk or a burst of motivation. That's why something like 10 minutes a few times a week is way more powerful than an intense plan you can't maintain. Because 10 minutes doesn't ask much of you. It doesn't feel dramatic. It doesn't feel like a huge commitment. And that's exactly why it works. There's also this all or nothing mindset that shows up a lot, especially in your early 20s. You either feel completely on track or completely off track. You're either locked in or you've fallen off. There's no middle ground. And the problem with that is that real life is almost entirely middle ground. Most days are average. Most weeks aren't perfect. Progress isn't linear. You're going to have stretches where things feel easy and stretches where everything feels harder than it should. The difference between people who get in shape long term and people who don't isn't that one group never struggles. It's that one group doesn't quit when things get messy. They don't let a bad day turn into a bad month. They don't let a missed workout turn into a reason to stop entirely. They just return over and over again. And that ability to return without punishing yourself is a skill. It's something you build. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about recovery. It's about how quickly you get back on track after you drift. And drifting is normal. Expecting yourself to never drift is unrealistic. What matters is that you don't turn drifting into an identity. You're not bad at this because you had an off week. You're just human. Another thing that really matters is motivation, or more accurately, how much people overestimate it. Motivation feels great when it's there, but it's unreliable. It changes based on sleep, stress, hormones, mood, and things you can't control. If motivation was required to get in shape, almost nobody would succeed. The people who stay consistent aren't motivated all the time. They've just stopped relying on motivation altogether. Instead, they make it easier to do the right thing than the wrong thing. They remove friction. They simplify. They stop negotiating with themselves every day. They don't wake up and ask, do I feel like working out? They already decided. The decision was made in advance, and that saves an enormous amount of mental energy. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on structure. Simple routines, familiar movements, a predictable schedule. The fewer decisions you have to make, the less effort it takes to show up. And that matters way more than hype or inspiration. How you think about exercise itself also plays a huge role. If you see it as punishment, you're always going to resist it. If you think of it as something you have to do because you hate your body or because you're trying to erase guilt, it becomes emotionally draining. That kind of motivation doesn't last. It turns exercise into something you associate with shame. A healthier way to think about movement is as maintenance. Not something you earn, not something you do to fix yourself, something you do because your body is the thing that carries you through your life. You don't wait until your teeth are destroyed to brush them. You don't wait until your car breaks down to change the oil. You take care of things you plan on keeping. Your body is the same. A lot of people avoid starting because they're waiting to feel ready. They think they need to feel confident, motivated, or inspired before they begin. But confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You don't build confidence by planning. You build it by showing up, especially when it's uncomfortable. And you don't need to show up perfectly for it to count. It's also important to talk about how people tie their self-worth to their body, especially at this age. So, it's easy to feel like your physical appearance says something about your value as a person. Like being in shape means you're disciplined, successful, and put together. And being out of shape means you're lazy or failing. But your body is not a moral scorecard. It's not proof that you're good or bad. It's not evidence of your worth. Getting in shape doesn't make you better than anyone else. And not being in shape doesn't mean you're broken. What actually matters is the relationship you have with yourself. When you repeatedly break promises to your body, even small ones, it chips away at your self-trust. And when you start keeping those promises, even in small ways, that trust slowly rebuilds. That trust shows up everywhere in how you talk to yourself, in how you approach challenges, in how you respond when things don't go as planned. It's not really about your body at all. Your body just happens to be the place where that relationship becomes visible. Another mindset shift that helps a lot is thinking long-term. Stop asking how fast you can get results. Start asking what you can realistically sustain for years. Your body isn't a short-term project. It's something you're going to live in for the rest of your life. There is no moment where you're done taking care of it. And that's not a bad thing. It means you don't have to rush. You don't have to punish yourself. You don't have to do anything extreme. You don't have to turn fitness into your entire personality. You just have to do enough, consistently enough, for long enough. If you're around 20 and you feel behind, that feeling is incredibly common. A lot of people think they should already have everything figured out, their routine, their body, their life. But you're not late. You're early. This is the best time to learn how to take care of yourself in a way that doesn't rely on extremes, in a way that doesn't burn you out, in a way that fits into a normal, imperfect life. Progress in fitness is usually quiet. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's kind of boring. It's showing up when no one is watching. It's doing something small instead of nothing. It's accepting that some workouts will feel great, some will feel fine, and some will feel bad. All of them count if you keep showing up. At the end of the day, getting physically in shape isn't about becoming a different person. It's about becoming more consistent with the person you already are. It's about lowering the bar enough that you can step over it regularly. It's about treating yourself like someone worth taking care of, even on days when you don't feel like you deserve it. You don't need to hate your body into changing. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to start small, be patient, keep returning. Over time, those small actions add up to something real. And that's how people actually get in shape. Not overnight, not dramatically, but in a way that lasts.